Hi, it's week 2 of electronic communication. I would normally preview the second week coming up. That'll be my habit, to try to get something out to you Sunday nights. I give you a little video preview of the week coming up. But tonight I'm going to give you an overview of the blog essay number 1. Haven't seen anybody post one of those yet. I set up an example yesterday, and hopefully people had a chance to see that, but I thought I would talk through it a little bit more and just try to make sure everybody gets off to a good start in the first week and a half of the course. So you're looking at my personal site right now where I posted this essay. So I tried to play the role of a student here a little bit. I tried to write what is essentially your first major assignment, and I did it on my personal site. You can see I've got my name there that I think of it. Anyway, on to the blog essay itself. What I want you to notice, and I've mentioned this within the essay itself, is that it's probably a little too long. It's longer than I suggested for the assignment. It's about 1,000 words, and I'm suggesting 400 to 500, but I wanted to make a good impression. And in many ways, it was easier to write longer, and you might find that too. If you do find yourself writing longer, one of the things that you might be particularly aware of, though, is breaking it up into manageable paragraphs. I commented on that on a few of the initial posts. We, especially us English major types, have a tendency to write 7 to 8 sentences in a paragraph. That's kind of the old-fashioned model. The web model is anywhere from 1 to 3. You'll see a lot of web writing that is really just one sentence equals a paragraph, and there's some good reasons for that. It's not all bad. I do tend to be more in the 3 sentence equals a paragraph range, but it gives me some white space on here. It gives me some organization. Also reminds me not to go too far into too much depth with each of my points of analysis. So think about that as one thing that's particularly unique to web writing and something that you'll be working on and learning in this course. You'll also notice another old academic habit that most of us have is citing our sources, and it's a good habit in most situations. On the web, and certainly on the web, in some cases you're writing in pretty much a traditional academic mode, but for this assignment and for this course I'm really asking you to do something that's a little bit hybrid. I do want you to refer to the text, and you can see I refer to it even as informally as SMSG in here, and I refer fairly informally to the principles, or the down here, the best practices. I mentioned number 7 here and number 11 there. So I'm referencing the book generally. I'm not providing the page numbers as you see here. I haven't provided a works cited. If I were referencing something that were a source outside of the course, I'd probably try to link to that, which is one of the other things that I did do in here. I linked to the Surfrider Foundation that I'm analyzing, and I linked to, where did it go in here? NDSU and Charity Water as examples of websites that use a similar kind of rotating photos for their banner. So, and that's something to watch for, and that's something that struck me as not covered in SMSG, but something that I've noticed on the web, and probably a lot of you are seeing that, both as surfers of the web and as web design majors, if that's your major. And so that's an important thing to do in these assignments, is to link out, right? So let me review a couple of things so far. So it's the shorter paragraphs, it's the not quite fully academic style but still referencing text, it's linking out to other sources, things that you're referring to. You also see right in here the 2 images that I've inserted, and that's part of the assignment as well. If you check that out, I've asked you to make sure that you include some images. The blog post that I was analyzing did a nice job of including 3 relevant images in its post. A couple other things. I guess that's the body of the post itself. This is the sort of thing that I'm asking for. And then I'm also asking you to make sure that you use categories. I've set this one up as a category cloud, and it's got a lot of other things in here because I've been using this site for a while, but I set up a new category that you might see here called blog essay, and I'd recommend that for most of you, to include that as one of your categories. I also use social media for social good as a new category, and so I ended up putting this post in those 2 categories. Tagging, and I had the post on categories and tags. Tagged what I think, I didn't mention this in the post, but it seemed obvious to me after I wrote this particular piece that I'm likely going to tag things like the foundations, the nonprofits that I refer to. So there's Surfrider in there, and you might be able to see that. These ones are showing up small because it's the first time that I've tagged them. And here's the archive for Surfrider, and so it's obviously going to pull up just this one post. Another way to see your tags is that they show up also at the bottom of, whoops, went too far, show up at the bottom down here of the post. Oh, there it is. So tags, charity, water, that's the other foundation I mentioned here, Surfrider, and then week 1. And I thought about putting weeks as categories, and that might make sense rather than tags, but I think for my purpose, because I tend to use this site for more than just this semester and more than even when I'm teaching the class, that I thought I'd put that in a tag rather than a category. So those are the 3 that I went with there. And then it also shows here, it shows you the categories that I used. So that's the sort of things that I'm asking you to do in all of your blog essays, right? So it is to think about all those moving pieces. And then the last part of it is also the reblog. And I noticed some people trying out the reblogs but having trouble figuring out how to make that work. The first key to that is that you'll see up here at the top, it doesn't say reblog anywhere. What you need to do is you need to go to the permalink. So what I did is I clicked on the title, and you might have noticed that the URL changed from just kevinabrooks.wordpress.com to this thing that's got the year and the date and then the title of the page itself in here. So this is called the permalink. This one, once this post gets pushed off the front page, how would you find it? You would find it here. And as soon as I did that, both the option to like it appears, so I can like my own post, and then also reblog appears here. And if I click the reblog, what that's going to do is it should give me options to reblog it in other blogs that I am a member of or subscribed to. Although it's going to not cooperate with me, I see at this point. Now that could be because I've reblogged this post already, and now I've never tried to reblog something twice. Now it seemed to me that it should. Alright, I'm going to have to work with that. But here's what it did for me. You got to trust me that it does work. I'll try to get you another example. And this is what the reblog looked like. I got a drop-down menu back on my personal one. It gave me a set of options. Where did I want to post it? And so I chose electronic communication because I have multiple sites. With you, I'm guessing it's going to give you just the choice of your own site and our class site. I saw that somebody reblogged their blog to their own site, probably because they're not in our class site yet. And so once I get everybody in here, you should have the option to do it here. So it sets up the same title. It says underneath it, reblogged from Kevin Brooks. It's got a little, it's got the 2 images. It does a nice thing here where it pulls the images. And then it's also got the first paragraph, read 951 more words. Then it gives you space, or it gave me space to also add a note. So I wrote a sample blog essay in which I analyzed Surfrider Foundation's website persona and strategies. So those are sort of the mechanics of a blog essay. Actually, let me go back to here. You'll find all of that under the assignment. I should have checked this first. I think I'm being consistent with my own assignment. So I am trying to, in some ways, I guess I could go over these in a little bit more detail. Here, there's length 400 plus. Voice, that's speaking to your readers, engage them. This is in some ways what I was saying about being not quite academic. That's also another way of putting it, is that I'm trying to achieve that sense of voice, a non-academic voice there. My content hopefully is informative and insightful. My images are included. My categories are included, tags, links, and the shareability. And so my posts back on my personal site go out to my Twitter feed as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I was pretty consistent with my own assignment there. I hope that means that I've given you a good model to get started in terms of one of the options for week 1. You could also just talk about, I gave you the options here to post about who do you want to be online, if you wanted to go more the personal route, or who are organizations trying to be. And that's what I tried to do there with that persona, and then I developed it into a little bit more of a thorough blog that applied the first chapter from social media for social good. So I'll have more to say about week 2 coming up probably tomorrow night or the next night. I don't want to rush people because in terms of actual activity, I think everybody in the class is still working on week 1 activities. We will need to pick up the pace at some point, and week 4 is a little bit of a catch-up week, so I am still confident that this is going to work out for everybody. Do make sure that you post your personal history as soon as possible, tonight if possible, tomorrow for sure. Post your first blog essay again as soon as possible by Tuesday at the very latest, I would say, because by Wednesday you're going to want to make a decision. If you still haven't made progress in this course, Wednesday's your day to drop the class and get a full refund or not pay your tuition on this. So I would say get both of those things done by Tuesday. And you should be good to go, and then really bear down and plan to get blog essay number 2 written by the end of next week so that you get it done within the confines. The first week is both busy, and I know people were busy getting set up for their whole semester. There was a little snag with the books, things like that. So first week is busy. The second week is a chance for you to get caught up. There's just the one blog essay required. There's getting Twitter up and running, but I saw a lot of people already have Twitter accounts, so that's good. That might be a venue where you can ask some questions and about either the mechanics or some bigger questions about the course in there. We haven't really had any conversation going yet, and I'll make sure that on Thursday that I am available for a Google Hangout, and I'll send some more information about how to be ready for that. I suspect this is a little too long, so I'm going to stop it here, and I look forward to seeing your work online soon. Okay, I answered my question for myself. Once a post has been reblogged, as I was trying to show earlier, and I couldn't get the reblog to work, it turns out that it can't be reblogged again. So choose wisely when you reblog it to the right location. The way it works, I'm right here. Let me step this back a little bit. So here's my home page, kevinhabrooks.wordpress.com. If I want to go to the permalink, I click on the title, then I get my long URL up top there. Now I get my option to reblog. Notice it said reblogged, past tense, because I'd already done the other post. Now if I click reblog here, I get to add my thoughts, post to electronic communications, and then my post is, my default is electronic communication. That's set up as my primary blog, but you can see all my other blogs here, so I could choose to post it anywhere. There's my personal one, etc. But I'm going to leave it here. That's the one I want, and I'm going to go reblog post. It's reblogging. Eventually this will grab, and there it is. You reblog this post to electronic communications. Then it'll even give you the option to view it. Looks like my internet's moving a little bit slowly right now. Looks like I missed that opportunity, or it's still spinning. I'll also get there here. So now we've got it. Now one of the problems with the reblog is that it also does get filed under uncategorized, so that's a little bit of a weakness there. It leads to a lot of posts in here being uncategorized. But the advantage is that this is a way to notify the class that you've posted on your own site. It's also just part of the mechanism of getting you thinking about having a base site like your own, and then being able to share that, so that my personal site now, when I do that, you can see here that it actually already gets shared. I can share it to Google+, I can share it to Facebook. That's already happened automatically. There's a one behind that. I've already shared it to Twitter, and then if I wanted to press this somewhere else, I could press this to yet another site again. So it's about getting you to think about that multiple uses of content certainly use it on your personal blog, but then share it wider to the class blog, to your Twitter or Facebook if you think that's appropriate, to other blogs, or to Google Plus if you're set up there. So there's a little mini addendum to my already too long lecture.